All right. Let me add this first, so we can do our hindsight review. LUNR, look. Gapping up all the way to lower high position, the 61 fib. Guys, look at the gap. Guys, how many times do I tell you, look, off the 4, comes back to it. 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 It doesn't freaking matter. It can't stay off it that long. So, we come off the 4 now. We have a gap to the 4, even bigger gap to the 8. And then we have a top and tail here. The only thing that screwed me is that I was thinking we were going to get left shoulder, head, right shoulder on a secret kind of setup thing like this. And also, the risk reward isn't good if you chase it down, right? So, now we know we're in lower high position. We also know that we're at the 61 fib. Now here's the left shoulder. Here's the head, which is also right at $10 psych level, which is very hard to break. We never got a fake breakout trigger up here. All we did was get a somewhat secret setup to 8, cross below 21.34 a little bit, made a lower low, but we never got a lower high. That's what sucks. Now, could you short this bounce back into the 10-minute EMAs after you're below support here? I suppose you could, but you have to jam your stop down now to right above here, or at least right above here. I don't like to ruin the setups. This thing should have popped up to here. It didn't. It didn't. Oh well. Now, once it's really trending down to here, if it didn't get back to the daily 4 or 8 yet, well, then I would say you could hit a 10-minute EMA. See, the problem is the 4 is right there. Let's lose the fibs. We still have room to the 8, so not the worst trade if you wanted to take this 10-minute 21 right here, because it is trending down, but you know, obviously that's a different kind of setup. You're just scalping it here, and see if it will break down. Not ideal as if it went like this, obviously. Back up here. Lower high position. And then we hit the friggin' shit with good risk reward. And then it comes down to the 4 and 8. That would have been perfect. So it kind of sucks, but what are you going to do? Next we have CVNA. Let's clear this drawing set. Why was I looking at CVNA? Same reason, you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days extended off the 4. Look. Comes up. This is earnings right here, guys. When you have a gap up like this, earnings. Remember, it doesn't have to come back to the 4 right away because it's earnings. But besides that, off the 4 comes back to it. Off the 4 comes back to it. Touch the 4, comes off, comes back to it. Off the 4 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 comes back to it. So now, yesterday we closed up here. I'm hoping we open up here, try to push, and come back to it. Problem is, this turned into a friggin' piece of shit gap down and then flushed before it bounced, which is no good. Also came down to support here. We don't really love shorting stocks after they find support, especially that it came back to the 4 already, right? It came back below the 4. So it's like, you know, this should have went like this. Ideally, this would have went like this. It would have opened, pushed back up to here, did a fake breakout of this high, and then we would short the shit out of it on the fake breakout and then take it back down to here, 4 and maybe 8. But now we got a gap down on the flush. So it didn't go back to the 8, so it's not the worst trade, I guess. But I wouldn't want to be shorting this grind. This grind is too strong, up to 10-minute EMAs. You know, I'll probably wait till tomorrow to see if it do a fake breakout or something. Other than that, I will be like looking for like, you know, start to make at least a lower low and then a lower high, right? Maybe you break the most recent level of support. Now the trend could be starting to change. And then it comes back up. Once this starts to curl over right here again, once this starts to curl back over right here, well, that's when you short it, when you stop up here or up here. But to now just short it while it's just grinding at fucking 2 o'clock in the afternoon, nah. especially after it already flushed hard. We already got a gap down and a flush. Pretty much ruins the setup. Never any trigger at the highs. And also, look, guys, remember, when we break the 10-minute EMAs, where do we go next? Well, look at that. The hourly 21. We look at, guys, just like all the other EMAs, all right? Look what happens. All the way up without touching the hourly 21. Boom, now we hit it. So that could easily go back up. Just like the first time back to the 10-minute EMAs, just like the first time back to the daily EMAs, just like the first time back to the hourly EMAs. Look, hourly 21. Hourly 21. Hourly 21. This thing loves the hourly 21.34. So now it came back to a very obvious place where it likes to use, right? Look at that. Hasn't hit it this whole way down, almost right there, but now that could easily grind back up and keep going. Because that was the only pullback to the first pullback to the hourly 21. So, unfortunately, that setup got jacked up. They dumped it right off the open. Meta. 10-minute EMA long. Problem is that Meta gapped up a bit, so you only got the dip to the 8 for the long. So you could have taken that. Yesterday's high right here, plus the 10-minute 8. Strong move up, flag off the 8, plus yesterday's high. Boom, sold into the highs. Pretty much basic 10-minute EMA setup on a stock that is grinding higher. And now it's got, look guys, now it's got extended away from the 4. So why is it turning around? Because it got extended away from the 4. Just like over here, just like over there, 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 just like over there. So that's what happens. Now, this may possibly give a secret setup tomorrow. The only thing is, guys, right, we still have a gap to the 4, so that's good. If we pop up tomorrow like this candle shit right here, what I want to see tomorrow is this daily candle. Pop up to there. And then come back down to the 4, and maybe probably won't go to the 8, but maybe to the 4. So what you would get here is this. And guess what? That would magically look like this. It would magically almost look like this if that one went a little higher. But do you see the personality of the stock? This one almost the same thing right here, except it took the second day to do it. It might have hit the 61 fib this way, but it's the same shit. Same thing, right? If you go look, right? This one, we would have wanted a little higher. Point is, you guys, the point is, look, if you look at all these, it's either a fake breakout or a lower high most of the time. I don't trade the fucking ones. Well, that gave you a little fake breakout. All these reversal points, either a high or low or a fake breakout. Fake breakdown, high or low. Fake breakdown, squeeze. Right? Fake breakdown, squeeze. Lower high, fake breakout. Lower high, so fake breakdown, lower high. They all turn the same ways. So hopefully tomorrow, this is what's going to happen, and that's going to look like this. Intraday, that's going to look like this is crossing down. We broke the first level as 4. We also broke back below the breakout level. And then tomorrow, hopefully this might come a little lower to give us more range. And tomorrow we just put our fibs on from wherever it went to wherever it went to. And bounce back up to lower high position. Short, risking off the highs. That's that. Anyways, but for today it was just breakout, strong move up, flag off the 8, 10-minute EMA setup from the watch list. Back to the 4, which... also, guys, I put on that watch list. 10-minute EMAs, guide for long. Oh, we wait for a short setup back to the 4. We didn't really get that great of a short setup. This wasn't very much of a parabolic setup. It also wasn't that much of a fake breakout because it actually went decently over that level. I mean, you could definitely short it when it fall back below and take it back to the daily 4, but, you know, if you short it right here, 71, risking $2, I mean, yeah, it's all right. It's all about risk reward, remember. Okay. Next, we had MSTR. MSTR, flagging on top of daily EMAs and hourly EMAs and 140 psych level. MSTR. MSTR. All right, does everyone see what I'm talking about here? Flagging on top of daily EMAs. Look at this. Whenever you have this angle right here, this little lower high angle, and it stays holding a key level, that's a very key level right here, 140. Plus, it has the 4 support right there. That is a flag. That little angle is a flag. So this is the pole, and that is the flag, right? So now, once we know that we possibly have that, what do? We just drop down to a lower time frame, and we look, same thing. Look, strong move up, flag off the 8. Now it's flagging on the 21. It's flagging on the hourly EMAs. The EMAs are super bullish. We're waiting for this to break now, this downtrend, right? And then we drop down to the 10-minute chart. And where do we take the trade? Today, right here. As soon as this came down, wick down, started breaking over this, I bought it. 147. Sold it into 150, 151. And then as soon as I saw this, I'll post my charts after. As soon as I saw the trend break, I sold it. Why did I sell it? Well, because I didn't like one thing. Even though we had a flag break, I didn't like that we had this resistance right here that we were going into. Very clear double top. Wasn't really loving that. So I said if I get a trigger at that key level or near that key level, I'm just going to sell it. Well, we got a trend break right at 150, 150, right under that key level. Right? So I sold it. But that still was a sick trade. Next, we had cost. Guys, cost could have been the best trade of the day, but I chose to look at 4 other things, which they worked, but cost, I should have stayed looking at cost because cost, guys, look at cost daily chart, all right? Boom, pulls back to the 21. Boom, pulls back to the 21. Boom, pulls back to the 21. Now look. Where do you think cost is going? Fucking bet your ass it is. See that? Cost is going up here, guaranteed. So now, guys, cost. It pulls back off the 4, curling off the 4 and 8. That means now, over this candle high right here, it should be able to push back up. It has no resistance over these candles right here. I like to use the one right before it, so I called it about 908. I split the middle. And I'll show you in a sec. If you go down to this time frame, you can clearly see, okay, cost has a clear trend line on the hourly chart. If we break over 908, it should be able to push with clear no resistance back up to here at least. All right? So now we drop down. Now, because of that, what does it say in the watch list? It says if cost breaks over 908, should push intraday. That means we use a 5-minute EMA setup. Okay. Now 5-minute EMAs, pre-market data on, because we used on for 5-minute EMAs, off for 10-minute EMAs. All we're waiting for is for cost to push over this 908 level, and then we're going to use our 5-minute EMA strategies, which is what? Strong move up, flag off the 8. And here you go. Strong move up, flag off the 8. Literally penny touched it. You get long at 9.10, 9.11, whatever, risking friggin' $1. Well, that's, guess what? That's an 8 to 10 hour trade easily all day. And what's this up here? 9.20. That is just the pivot right here that I would target. Targeted it. If it can break through that, it will go here. If not, we have maybe a head and shoulders, but I don't care. The target was drawn on. It hit it to the penny. So that couldn't be any easier. Break over 908. Strong move up. You switch to 5-minute chart. You use a 5-minute EMA strategy. That means the 5-minute EM strategy that happened, strong move up, flag off the 8. And then you take it to the resistance and you penny touch the exit right there. No problem. Very, very, very basic, easy trade. Easy setup. Fucking, my grandmother could trade that. Next we have Apple. AAPL. Apple, you guys. Why did I want to short Apple? Well, guess what? Apple's extended off the 4 into resistance. Apple had a stuff candle at resistance, extended off the 4. I want to short it back to the 4 and 8. 4 is the first target, then 8. So what do I need? Well, now we put now we're using the secret setup, so we have the 10-minute EMAs back on. Pre-market data off. We are looking for secret setup, and unfortunately, we got a dump. Unfortunately, we got a dump down to the 4 without any bounce. But ideally, I was looking for this. With this candle here, I wanted to stay around here, bounce back up to here, then come down. So this is kind of like CVNA now, where it flushed all the way down to the 4. Seems to be working better than CVNA did, but still, it never came up to low high position regardless, so it really doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? This was all I could see today in the morning. I was hoping that we would open around, open maybe around flat and just spike up to here, have this level, that level, low high position, then come down. So it didn't set up. That's fine. I like that my setups either don't set up or they do set up. It's either a winner or it doesn't set up most of the time. And then crowd, I was just talking about how long. Crowd, easy gap up, gap in the volume gap, easy down, easy up, and real gap to fill 335. This should keep grinding up to 10-minute EMAs, which it did give you another day trade right off the open, but now it might pull back to the hourly EMAs. As you can see, grind, opened, kind of whipped off the 10-minute 8, but now it's like losing the 10-minute 21.34, so we'll probably go back to see how far we are off the 21, you guys. We came down to the 21 here. We didn't make it to here, so now we run the risk of this coming back down to the hourly 21 here. And also, why is that? Well, guess what? Look how far we are off the 4. So maybe it wants to come back to breakout retest in the 4, which is totally normal because we see it all the time. Breakout retest in the 4 is at 287. Well, guess what? Guess what else is at 287? Guess what? The hourly 21.34, you wankers. They're all doing the same shit on different time frames. You're off the 4. You want to come back to the 4, which is going to be the hourly 21. You're off to fucking whatever. The daily 8 is going to be the hourly something else. It's going to be the fucking 10-minute 100, whatever. It's all the same shit. If you look, watch. The daily 8 is way down here. 278. That's literally below the 30. That would be about the 10-minute 50 probably. I mean, the hourly 50. But that would be below this, the 34. So I think this will come back to the 4 and bounce because it already bounced right here off the 34. And the hourly 34 is going to around 284. So that means this thing will probably bounce around maybe 284, 285, 286. Around the 4 and 8, somewhere around there. And we still have... The only thing I don't love about this, you guys, is that we did come to this pivot right here. Ultimate low pivot. There is a gap to fill, but I don't love that we rejected this pivot so cleanly. But I do think this will come down here, hold this level, and then try to push back up and fill this gap. Either way, I'm just fucking letting that thing do its thing no matter what because that's an investment long term. And that was it for the watch list. Does anyone have any questions? SMCI, easy peasy, beautiful cover girl. Why did I say this morning SMCI is probably going to squeeze and then reject the 21? That's why I just wanted to sell into a spike. Well, number one, there's a pivot right here that it didn't touch until just today. All right? It never touched that pivot. Number two, guys, the first flag off the 21, the second flag off the 21 is a short usually. But this thing was just so beautiful, so beautifully flagging right here, right on the hourly EMAs, and I knew it would probably want to spike to that pivot. I just couldn't help but long it. Also gave me a beautiful 10-minute EMA setup right here at the end of the day yesterday where it was like, damn, I could literally risk like a few bucks, and just see what happens if that squeezes. So really all I did was like look at it like this. I think I got in right around here, 50, risking like $5, and then boom, guess what? It blasts off $35. It was just too obvious of a flag pattern, and it was so tight on the daily chart. Even though it was against the 21, I still saw the 4 and 8 curling up, and it's such a tight flag right here. I just figured it was going to try to pop before it dumps. So I just took advantage of the pop, even though I don't recommend doing that against the daily EMAs because, this is what happens. If you don't get out perfectly and then it just dumps, or right here, maybe you try to do that right here, you think, wow, look at this tight squeeze. It's going to pop. Then it just dumps. This is the first time back to the 21. I would never do it there. Second time, I said maybe it can make it to the 34. Wasn't a great trade to teach. I wouldn't recommend trading that way. You just trade in the direction of the daily EMAs, but I'm just a ninja, so I said, fuck it. It's a little too far. The reason why is it was a little too far off the 8. I felt, look, the weekly chart comes back to the 8. The weekly chart comes back to the 8. Plus, I knew it would probably try to squeeze up to the 21 again, try to trap people out of this consolidation, fake move up and dump maybe. So that's pretty much all I did was to take advantage of that. And it just looks so nice on the hourly chart. Really, really setting up. Look at this squeeze, you guys. Hourly EMAs are starting to curl up. Giant hourly squeeze. I just said, fuck it. If I can get good risk reward, I'll try it. But definitely not a really good trade to teach against the daily EMAs. Just, not ideal. Not ideal. It didn't even come down to this level right here. I mean, I was looking at this, but also the other thing, Holy, was that I knew it bounced off the 400 psych level and held, so I'm like, maybe it can get some more buyers coming in because it did hold 400. They might try to push it back up a little. Plus, it's dropped so far, but not ideal. It's easier just to let this curl back up, make a move, come back down, hold the top of the daily EMAs then long. It's like trying to long right here, right? Instead of just waiting for right here. What's a better long? Right here below the EMAs or just right here for the real good setup and then boom. You could long right here, right? Same thing. Squeezes up. But is that really ideal? Most of the time you're going to lose. Or just wait for the real setups. The real setups when you're on top of the EMAs that are much easier and clearer. And eventually you catch a bad boy like this. Strong move up. Look how tight this flag was. So tight right on the 8. You buy that right there. 136.50, risking friggin' $5-6 and boom. Eventually you catch those. And then even if you just use the 8 for a trailing guy, you got over here. How many points is that? Fucking 100% gain? Crazy. Shit. Oh. Freaking bum knee. So, alright. Stop the recording. Well, you should have a short in mind.